So many car shows this weekend, and it is a beautiful day here in Philadelphia. Unless you're listening to this at another time of the year, it is really pretty. We got rid of the humidity. It's not raining. It's sunny, and there's a lot of car shows. As we mentioned last week, New Hope is taking place this weekend. That's Saturday and Sunday. So if you're listening in New Jersey, take a ride up to Lambertville on Sunday, cross the bridge, and you'll be at the New Hope Auto Show. In the fall, CarSmarts Radio is going to name the People's Choice Award for Best Local Car Show. So nominate a show, go to carsmartsradio.com and follow the prompts. And then we'll add a poll so that you can vote on in the early fall and announce it sometime after September. So if the All Mopar Car Show was your favorite of the year, go nominate it. If the New Hope Show was your favorite of the year, nominate it. And we're going to create almost like a Stanley Cup that's going to go from show to show each year. It's our first year, so please get in on that. Speaking of shows, let's talk a little bit about the All Mopar Car Show with Michaela Brass, Miss Mopar, here in the Philadelphia area, which you started and continue to organize.
Yes, it's become my baby. We're actually planning right now for our 5th annual, which will take place June 28th, 2020. We are hot off a huge success this past year. Our 4th annual All Mopar Show was record-breaking. We had 272 cars in attendance.
Wow.
We have doubled the amount of donations that will be made to the Caring for Kids Foundation. What I love about it so much is that it just brings out a wonderful group of people. We're not club affiliated. There's no politics. If you want to come with a car club, come with a car club. If you want to come by yourself, come by yourself. If you want to roll in with your friends, do it. Like, there's no rules. Just come and have a great time, network, meet new people. We pull vehicles from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Delaware, Ohio. We had a gentleman this year make the trip from California.
Wow.
He towed his power wagon, and he came out for the car show, and to me that's just mind-blowing. Like, here we are, just a little group of car enthusiasts that have just brought to fruition this mecca of little car shows. And my boss always says don't call it a little car show, but it started out as a little car show, and to watch it grow, it just makes my heart grow. I can't even express how excited I was when we closed registration, and my sister, who runs the registration table for me, said we have 272 cars here. And they're just all wonderful people, and they're kind, and they're so sweet to me. They're thanking me, and I should be thanking them, because without them it wouldn't be such a success.
It was a great show. I attended this year, and what strikes me from a logistics standpoint, it's at the dealership, so you have to move all the new cars to the back lot, which, by the way, you can probably expand the show into next year and move them to Lowe's or whatever.
If anybody ever needs a definition of organized chaos, it is the night before the car show.
Right.
We sell cars till 5 p.m. on Saturday, so we can't move cars off that lot till after that. And it is, I actually have a picture floating around somewhere. My sister's Cherokee that I mentioned earlier, we took about 358 keys and dumped them on the hood of that. And we were standing in the middle of the lot. There was like 15 of us, and people are just setting off panic buttons and finding cars and getting in them.
Right.
Driving them across 309. We had a Pacifica for our chase car. Pacifica seats 7 comfortably. We had people on laps, people in the trunk, people just trying to rip these cars across 309.
Right.
And it's so much work, and by the end of the night you're like, I'm so tired, how am I ever going to wake up at 4 o'clock to go get ready for this car show? But it's just fun. I have such a phenomenal group of people working with me. Most of them are my family, and the ones that aren't blood related are certainly family, just because I love them so much, for working for free. It's all volunteer. Nobody gets paid.
Right.
But it's fun.
Well, I imagine it's energizing, and that 4 o'clock wake up is not too difficult once you get out there and start organizing. It's just, there's a lot to do, and it shows the work that you put into it. Obviously shows. It was a great show.
Thank you.
I had to sneak out early, and so I went behind the dealership because I parked kind of a little bit further down 363, I guess it is, or Horsham Road.
Oh, okay, yes.
Cowpath. And I literally could not walk between the cars. You had them packed, the cars for
Yeah.
sale. You had them packed in there so tight. It was really, I'm like, how did they do this? This is amazing.
Oh, they are bumper to bumper,
Mhm.
door to door.
Closer.
And it's we move them back Sunday night.
Oh, wow.
So Sunday is like we're there before the
Running
sun
around.
is up, and we are there till the sun goes down.
Yep.
And but it's every second is worth it.
Tell me a little bit about how social media plays a role. Obviously, you have the Miss Mopar Facebook page, which has 22,000 followers. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. That's amazing. But you also promote this car show through social media. How has that worked and changed over the last 5 years, if at all?
Social media is one of my favorite tools. I'm not super techie. I just know how to take a picture and post it, but I think the nice thing about social media is, especially since we have 4 prior shows photos to pick from,
Mm-hmm.
all the cars that come are just so cool, and they all have a little story. And I've made it my life goal to chat with all these people in one way or another. And if I haven't chatted with them yet, I hope I have the opportunity to chat with them at next year's show and the next year's
Mm-hmm.
show. And you get a little story about it or something, and you put it up on social media, and you shout out to Brass Knuckles Photography. You get a great picture. People share it. People comment on it. People tag their friends. And I think when you have the content, all you need to do is post it up there. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't draw people in that aren't necessarily benefiting my main goal. It's certainly not everybody that likes the picture or whatever is going to bring their muscle car. But if it gets into the right hands, there's a trickle down. And I just think the best way to spread that is to put up a picture of our best of show. It's a gentleman named Armando. He's actually won 2 years in a row,
Wow.
best of show. He has a beautiful, beautiful black GTX. I am partial to black B bodies.
Mhm,
So, one of my favorite cars there, and obviously a favorite amongst everybody else. When you put his picture on social media, he has so many people that just rave about that car that they like it, and it pops up on their thread, and other people see it, and it's a hard car to scroll by because it's so beautiful.
Right.
So when we're gifted with such great content, it sort of makes social media easy. And it's just a fun way to interact with people. I mean, I've had a couple people that I chat with on Twitter about nonsense that have ended up coming to the car show because then they follow me and they learn about it. So I think it's all just having great content, having great people follow you. I mean, we have legitimate people that are following our social media, Instagram
That's right.
and Facebook, and on our Facebook event page and stuff. So that certainly helps because it's getting into the hands of the right people.
Yeah, I'm with you on the stories, but I mean, I talked to Steve Magnante, and he says every car has a story,
Yeah.
and it's true. And that, I mean, I think that's really what this radio show is about. Anytime I have somebody on, and we're going to get to the hot lap in segment number 4, where we hear about your first car and your first speeding ticket. But that's really what it's all about. It's the stories behind the cars. I've had 3 or 4 really special cars in my life, and I can tell you all kinds of stories about them. And everybody has that in their lives. Everybody's got a car, and that's why I do this show.
I pick a celebrity choice at Carlisle every year.
Mhm.
I get to choose a car,
Nice.
and there's almost 3,000 cars there. And my goal is to always pick one with a story. Now, and you could say every car has a story, but what story of all these people sweating to death on this show field for 4 days, what story is going to make me be like, oh my God, my heart? And it doesn't take long to find one.
That's
I
right.
mean, everybody, the people that have these cars, they have them because they love them. They don't have them because they're driving them to the train
And they
station.
love
you
telling
know?
the stories, and they often have
Yeah.
documentation. I met a 28 coupe, some kind of 28 coupe at the Doylestown, the Font Hill show. He came up to me and said, "Oh, you got the story. I'm the third owner, and I knew, it was handed off from an older woman to a gentleman. I know the whole story." And he had pictures, and it was in the news, and it was in this little town in Pennsylvania. I thought, man, that is.
Yeah.
It's not the best car in the show, but it's the best story.
And if you want to hear about the power of social media, when I got my 64 Power Wagon, I put a picture up of it, obviously a celebratory, look at what I got, I'm so
Right,
happy, a
right.
hole in my heart has been filled sort of
Mhm.
thing. And someone reached out to me and said, Michaela, that's my old truck. I sold that to a guy in New Jersey. And so I ended
Wow.
up getting the full history and some wild stories about this truck that, I mean, it looks beat up, and it has certainly lived some life in each one of those little dents and dings and all that. Like, tell a part of the story that this guy shared with me solely because he saw a picture I posted on the internet. So it's a magical thing, I think, if you use it correctly.
Absolutely, and there's actually a Facebook page called Lost Muscle Cars, and it was started by a guy who wrote a book called Lost Muscle Cars and the stories behind them, and he's going to come on the show sometime in the fall.
But, cool.
Really cool. That's just 50 stories, but there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back, we're going to run Michaela through the hot lap, although I think we know most of the answers to the questions, right after these messages on CarSmarts Radio.